Hello, guys. Welcome to A Poet Scholar. We are going to venture to the imagination of the unbelievable, the achievable, and the plain out weird. As a poet, I'm humble of words, but as a scholar, I'm a learner and a teacher of books. So what books we ask we're going to study tonight, on this warm and faithful night? Without further ado, I give you a series of which volume should I look through, and just to have fun and let it go with not my art, but an art made by a man that had a dream called Ripley's, Believe It or Not. So without further ado, let me get my book. And here it is. Ripley's Believe It or Not. This book was excuse me, made in 2017. This copy was. So without further ado, let me gradually teach you on the series of the start of the series, At Night, Ripley's Believe It or Not. We're gonna look through here. Here's how we're gonna do this. We are going to just look through here, not start to finish, but whatever we find cool, we're gonna see. Let's start with the man. Man that's called Robert Ripley, that invested in this creation, start from his mind to a whole world of ambience. An ambience gracious enough to touch us in a way that we see as oddities. Okay? And here is one of the challenges, the whole challenge and the starting challenge of Ripley's life. Robert Ripley was the most traveled man of his time, always on the hunt for unusual items to add to his collection, and his ramble around South America may have been one of his most prolific trips. It says here, in 1925, Robert Ripley set sail on his first and most extensive trip to South America. There he would report back to the world on the wonderful things he saw in a syndicated feature column called Ripley's Rambles. So this is where he started, on Ripley's Rambles. He come up with the topic, Ripley's Rambles. Around South America, promising readers they'd learn things about the continent that are not found in books. Oh no, not found in books, Robert Ripley. Traveling along the border of the continent for 72 days, he did it all from sailing through the Panama Canal to visiting the corpse of Saint Rosa in Lima. Ripley's hometown, Santa Rosa, was named for the pious Perverian. Ripley even purchased his collection's very first shrunken head while in Peru. Intrigued, Robert Ripley returned to South America in 1939, spending a good bit of time in Colombia, where some of his favorite stories were found. And I give you the first oddity, and the very young man himself, Attaboy. 6.5 inches tall, reduced mummified human figure. Ripley was Attaboy, a human from Javero, from the Javero tribe in Peru, reduced to just 6.5 inches tall and mummified. And it's right there. You see? Ripley did amazing things. Ripley visited with Andes Inca native tribes. They're Andes Inca native tribes. There's there. Okay. After his death, believe it or not, returned to Colombia on Ripley's behalf to discover Jevra Pereira, the oldest man in the world, believed to be 162 years old. Pereira was a Zenu Indian who claimed to have been born in 1789. And it says here, the oldest living man, Jevra Pereira. Here's the poster for that. And here is a picture of what has to be. It's the only logical conclusion of Ripley's wife with the oldest man in the world. Or there could be other conclusions. But who else is named Ripley? Interesting. You know, it's just an assumption, this take on his wife bit. But there's the caption. Or is it saying his death and then the random woman visiting? You should look into that. Or look at me in the comments. Amazing artist. Believe it or not, Zuli Zanguino of Bogota, Colombia, paints by holding the brush with her mouth. Zuli was born with tetra amelia syndrome, a very rare disorder characterized by the absence of all four limbs. And there's the beautiful woman herself, Zulu. And then the last thing on this page, Round the World with Robert Ripley. Following in Robert Ripley's footsteps, Ripley, believe it or not, Vice President of Exhibits and Archives Edward Myers, returned to Colombia in 2016 and made some unbelievable finds. For instance, Colombian artist Ernesto Avel's Zambrano painted these tiny portraits, landscaped and national symbols of his country in the early 1950s, shortly before going insane. So this man, he went insane, but he painted these first as his country, as the globe. Tooth and nail. Painted on a pinhead this size. It's the whole thing's a nail. Should have read that first, you see. This is the top of the nail, and this is what the top of the nail looks like, and this is the nail. And he painted his entire country on that top of that nail. Just like a globe, but it's a nail. It's a small nail. Okay, let's look at the nitty gritty. Remember, this was in 2017. Shatter your senses. The Ripley's writers, researchers, and editors have spent the last year tracking down stories and photos so incredible you won't believe your eyes or ears or nose. But whether you believe it or not, every word in this book is true. Let Ripley's overwhelm your senses with more than 1,000 stories that might make your skin crawl. But don't turn your nose up at it. You may find it's an acquired taste. Here's all the taste. Touch. What's the 5 senses? Touch, hear, taste, see, and smell. Tell us what shatters your senses. Keep in touch. If you have an amazing ability or see something extraordinary, let us know. Send us your photos or videos and may be featured on the next book. And here's where you can send those photos. Take a screenshot. It'll last longer. Let's check out. We're going to hang out today. You hanging out with me tonight? It's not daytime. I keep on saying today, but very flash of a light means it's not day, it's a night. Brain infestation. Listen to this. Yadira Rosta of Garland, Texas, suffered terrible headaches for 9 months until the scan revealed that parasitic tapeworm were growing at the base of her brain. Doctors removed a piece of her skull and took 8 larval sacs from her brain. Wow, that's crazy. There's no picture. Okay, for instance, there are some good things and some bad things. Some lazy things, and this one of these lazy things, when you don't care to learn how to tie shoes, or you like me, a little heavy in the midsection, you know what I'm saying? You're trying to reach down and tie them shoes. Well, right here, Robert Ripley, the man himself, or the Ripley's company, have discovered in Germany they have self-tying shoelaces. Get this. A German company has invented shoelaces that tie themselves. When you put on the smart shoe, pressure sensors reveal that your foot is in position and trigger a tiny motor in the heel that pulls the laces tight. To remove the shoes, you click your heels together twice and the motor releases a spring in the shoe tongue. So it releases a spring in the shoe tongue, which loosens the laces. How you like that? How you like it, mammals? Let's see. And there's very bad things in the world. Like, I won't cover up the fact that we all need it. I won't try to dumb down the fact that we all need it. These are sleep disorders. And one of these sleep disorders, or all of them, functions like this. And explained by the Ripley's company like this. Those who suffer from a rare mysterious genetic condition, fatal familial insomnia, are never able to sleep forever. Fewer than 40 families worldwide have been diagnosed with the disease, which begins in the middle age and denies the body and brain the chance to rejuvenate, eventually leading to death. Now that is very sad and it's very scary, and I apologize if I put fear in your fright. But you know, if it's meant for us, we would be screwed. So be grateful and be thankful you can go to sleep. No matter how long it takes you. Enjoy it. And just be thankful you wake up every morning after you had a night rest. Okay? Okay, let's see here. Moving on from the grotesque. With more grotesque to feature. Don't worry, you horror fans. I'm one of them myself. Look at this. right there. It's my Skelly, my ghost face, and my Coraline. Now, if you don't know who Coraline is, who doesn't love a stop motion animation about a cannibal family that turns into whoop? No spoilers. Okay, check it out. Back to Ripley's. The Golden Monk. The body of a monk was preserved in a giant pottery jar and removed 3 years later to be turned into a golden statue for worship. This is a Buddhist thing. This very special Buddhist, and quite some oddity, Buddhist monk Fu Hao died in 2012 at the age of 94 after practicing Buddhism for nearly 80 years in Quanzhou, China, as a way to honor his devotion and inspire others. Mummification experts sealed his body in a large pot. After 3 days in the jar, the body was removed, cleaned, covered in gold leaf. The body of Fu Hao now resides in a glass case on a mountain where people can visit and worship. Fu Hao. Other than dried out skin, the body showed very few signs of deterioration. Monks whose bodies remain intact after mummification are said to be truly virtuous. So this was recent. This was 2012, and here's the monk. Here's the golden monk. They mummified his body, preserving it with natural preservations. One that would preserve a body. So I imagine, like, first you drain out the blood, and the morticians, they beloved this monk. It sounds like they beloved this monk, and the whole country beloved this monk. It sounds like these monks was sort of worshipped in a way for their self-sacrifice of not of their life, but of the life devotion to something. That's what it sounds like to me. Remember, I'm a scholar. I'm a teacher of my own ways. And a teacher in my own ways, you don't necessarily need the facts of what a monk does. So, this important man, a monk, to me, is worship, because not what he knows, not what he does for us, what he does for himself, is my take on the monk. And to be worshipped for what you do for yourself in China is to be gracious enough to bow your head and overcome life in a mummified pre-state in golden wrappings. He was preserved in golden leaves, and he is just like the natural history, the natural future, and the natural way of earth. Art. Okay. So, this is art. Right here. It's art. Don't let anybody tell you a difference. Let's check it out. We ain't got a lot of time here. Well, we have some more time. I want to keep these videos short, you know. See, not everything is horrifying, and not everything is nurtured. And this will prove it in New Zealand. As an overdue book. We love the library, so listen to this. A book borrowed from a library in Whitehorse, Yukon in 1965 was returned 51 years later from New Zealand. The story of Madame Curie was recently discovered and sent back to the Whitehorse by Rosalind Selby, whose family had accidentally taken the book with them when they moved from Canada in 1967. So they moved from Canada. So they accidentally took it to New Zealand. That's right. Okay. That is... Okay, we all heard about this day. This day that happens every 4 years, as I think. It is called Leap Day. On February 29, 2016, Chad and Melissa Groff from Columbus, Michigan, welcomed their second leap year day daughter. Baby Evelyn shares a birthday with older sister Elena, who was born on February 29, 2012. In the previous leap day. How sweet and how touching. And I'm very grateful that birthdays exist. And you should be saying the same thing, because this book, this life, and everything in it, well, we understand. We love family. We love animals on this channel. And if you know my last channel, we did a lot of nature stuff. And these families are specimens stuffed shelves. Hundreds of thousands of dead birds, mammals, fish, plants, minerals, historical artifacts, and more are stored at the Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History in Washington, D.C. Go visit. I went there. I didn't visit these, but I'd love to go back. Believe it or not, less than 1% of the museum's collection are on public display at any given time. The rest are carefully labeled and sorted into drawers, jars, and shelves where they can be easily found for display or scientific research. Multiple versions are kept to every specimen, so scientists have a more complete picture of what a species, area, or culture was like at specific times throughout history. I got a little robot voice there. Did you hear it? Was like. So they're figuring out what the history, the time, the species, all was like. And this is not a bad thing. They're stuffed and preserved. They're meant to be worshipped in their own way. Everything is meant to do something in their own way. You can pick it up, you can put it down, you can feed it, or you can think about it. Or you can dismiss it. That's what I meant to say. Just like Clean Getaway. After escaping custody in Jasper County, East Texas, fugitive Wesley Evans was found hiding in the dishwasher in his girlfriend's apartment, having first removed the racks. What a dummy. But anyway, enough. Because miracles happen. And this miracle was a rare birth. In January 2016, the first baby born in the Italian town of Ostana in 28 years was delivered. The small alpine town boasted more than 1,000 residents a century ago, but many moved out and now there are only 85 residents, only about half of whom live there all year round. 85 people live in this town. And baby New Year came. And that's it. Just 85 people. How interesting. For 28 years, 85 people live in this town. People suffering from Alice in Wonderland syndrome see the object as much smaller or larger than they really are. Pro tip. That was the pro tip. No two alike. Photographer Michelle Lynn Fritz was able to capture these delicate snowflake-like patterns on bubbles as they froze over during a frigid Pennsylvania winter. Fritz typically photographs flowers, but the chilly air left no blossoms for her to shoot. Instead, she took to her backyard with a mixture of children, bubble solution, and glycerin, blew some bubbles, and began taking pictures of the beautiful flower-like patterns that bloomed during the freezing process. See, not all things on here are bad. Look at this. That's the bubble. You see? That's the bubble. Very, very good. We're running out of time here. We're going to go just a few more minutes longer. And what are we scared of the most except time? Don't be scared of time. That was a lie. I'm sorry. But what do we know? Well, that's the point. We're not scared of time. But what are we scared? I'm not scared of them. But you may be. Clowns. Turn your heads. Skip however long it takes me to read this. This is called Clown Corpse. Carl Krug is the proud owner of the body of a 105-year-old clown named Archal Chatawaliu. Krug runs the California Institute of Abnormalities, or CIA, located in North Hollywood, California. It's part museum, part sideshow, and all weird. The embalmed body of a man who died in 1912 and asked for his body to be displayed forever in his favorite clown costume is now one of its most popular attractions. And like before, in my earlier days, I'm going to do the voice of behalf of this clown. And this is an interview they had about the clown corpse in this museum of abnormalities. Question, as the interviewer says, how did you come to process the body of a dead clown? Well, I am the proprietor of this very fashionable fashion museum, and here's my answer. Well, let's say a family came through and they were talking about the circus ranch, which houses all these crazy things. One of them was a relative on display. Since they were always away from the ranch and their relative never really got to be shown, I told them, bring him down, and they did 21 years ago. Now they come back every year, and we do a memorial service for Mr. Archal Chatawaliu. The interviewer. What does Archal Chatawaliu mean? Well, the proprietor, as I myself, the translation is the French tickler. Okay, the interviewer. How was the body of Chatawaliu preserved? Here's where it gets in depth, because the proprietor says his family had him hermetically not hermetically. Well, hermetically sealed in clown makeup, and he's wearing his Shriners Parade outfit from the first Shriners Parade in 1906 in Detroit. He was one of the last bodies to be gravity embalmed. They used to strap the body down to a table and then turn it upside down, letting gravity pull the chemicals into the body while it bled out. So that's how they did that. So the interviewer goes on and says, Do you perform any upkeep on the body, such as touching up makeup?" And the proprietor, "No way. I'd have to call Hazmat. He's embalmed with mercury and arsenic. Very toxic." Because this was 1906. You know. Are there any, as the interviewer says, are there any other preserved bodies at the CIA museum? Well, the proprietor goes on and says, "We have two other bodies. One of them is Madame Wong, and she is a midget magician, jewel thief. Fat Choi was a magician from underground opium dens in San Francisco." And this, according to the crew, the cross is Madame Wong's hand. The cross in Madame Wong's hand was the last thing she stole before being caught. And that's Madame Wong. And there's the cross that's pointing to it. And here is Fort Choi with his golden teeth. All preserved bodies at the CIA Museum. And there's the clown himself, the French tickler, the man of the hour, our child, Chatterlouis. And here he is. So imagine that, filled with mercury, toxic chemicals they used back in 1906, in the olden days. Nobody could even smell it, touch it. They got to keep it preserved. In this case, the gases won't release, and everybody's fine. And this is in California Institute. It's in the U.S. So come on down and see our child, Chatterlouis. I love this life. I love world. I love Earth. I love America. Well, okay. I think I've been going on long enough. We'll save it right there. Check out part 2 on this book. Ripley's Believe It or Not, Shatter Your Senses is the title of this very volume. Back in 2017, has a cool little hologram eyeball. And this is the scholar part of me, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you for your time.